The man woke up and suddenly heard terrifying screams coming from outside. He had just stepped onto the balcony when a military helicopter roared past. A moment later, it slammed into the side of a nearby building. The sight left him completely shaken. He cautiously leaned over and looked down. People were running in panic through the streets. His girlfriend was among them. But to his horror, he saw her and another person lunging at an elderly man. They were tearing into him like wild animals. The man had no idea what was happening. Stumbling in shock, he rushed back into the apartment. Suddenly, a neighbor burst through the door. He begged for shelter, saying his roommate had gone insane. Before the man could even react, the neighbor clutched his wound and stumbled into the bathroom. Sensing something was wrong, the man grabbed a knife to defend himself. At that moment, the TV cut in with breaking news. The broadcast reported that a zombie virus had erupted across the city. Anyone bitten or scratched would become infected. Just then, the neighbor walked out and saw the news on the screen. He quickly insisted that he was fine, but his eyes had already turned an unnatural shade of red. Holding the knife, the man ordered him to leave. The neighbor, not yet fully transformed, eventually stepped outside. The man rushed to slam the door shut and lock it. The next second, agonizing screams echoed from the hallway. He looked through the peephole. The neighbor was being torn apart by zombies. The man covered his mouth and collapsed onto the floor. Then a text message from his father shattered him completely. His parents were in serious danger as well. He tried calling them immediately, but no one answered. Now he was truly on his own. He pushed the refrigerator against the front door to keep zombies out. He dragged the bed into the living room so he could keep an eye on the door at all times. He also sealed the windows to prevent the zombies outside from noticing him. That night, strange noises suddenly came from the bathroom. A wave of dread washed over him. Gripping a baseball bat, he slowly moved closer. A zombie suddenly dropped down from the ventilation shaft. The man scrambled into hiding. The zombie slowly wandered into the living room. His heart was pounding. Luckily, the creature didn't notice him right away. He carefully sneaked up from behind and attacked. It was his first time fighting back, and he was completely overwhelmed. After regaining his composure, he shoved the zombie off the balcony. Then he blocked the bathroom vent with a surfboard. But zombies weren't his only problem. Just a few days later, the water supply was cut off. Food was running dangerously low. The man was on the brink of a breakdown. One day, his phone finally regained a signal. He grabbed it excitedly, only to find a final message from his parents. Something terrible had happened to them. He lost all will to live. He tore down the coverings on the window and slipped a rope around his neck. Just as he made up his mind and prepared to kick the chair away, he noticed something outside the window. Confused, he turned his head to look. There was a woman standing on the balcony across the street. The shock nearly caused him to choke himself. After struggling free, he rushed forward eagerly and pressed his face against the window to look again. Moments later, the woman pulled her curtains shut, but her appearance made him realize he was no longer alone. That night, the man carefully cleaned himself up. Early the next morning, he stepped onto the balcony to greet her. The woman noticed him too, but zombies filled the streets below. They were extremely sensitive to sound, so the two could only communicate through written messages. When he learned she had no water, he tossed a rope across and built a simple pulley system to send her supplies. But the bottle struck the railing, and the noise attracted a zombie. It immediately began climbing toward the woman. To protect her, the man hurled the bottle at the zombie. This successfully drew its attention. The creature leapt down and charged straight at him. At the same time, zombies at his door began slamming against it non-stop.